So, kind of a broad topic today, if I'm being honest. Lots of things we will discuss, lots of things we will not kind of be discussing. Talking about recovery generally. With that being said, things I'm not really going to touch on too much are things like nutrition. There's dietitians out there, my wife, Scott, people like that, who are much more educated on the topic and can talk to you all for hours about those kinds of things. With that being said, we'll kind of stick to three main subjects around recovery, namely sleep, active recovery, and stress. Those are the big things that we're kind of discussing today. A lot of this is just going to be me talking at you guys. I'm going to show you a couple like movements and that kind of thing. Things that you've probably already done in the past if you've done warm-ups at Alloy, which obviously you all already have done. But we'll get there once we get there. Basically we're going to talk about why this matters, the three main buckets that we're pulling from, and I'll give you kind of practical strategies and ideas of each of those three topics specifically. So, why the hell does this matter? Why does recovery matter? Recovery is just sitting down in the chair, right, Jay? You finish a workout, go home, take a 10-minute nap, that's recovery, right? Definitely not, right? Of course not. That's why you guys are here, duh. So, recovery is not a lazy process. Now, that to be said, time, recovery, like actual rest and repair is necessary, right? There's a reason sleep is going to be a huge topic today, but recovery is an active process for the most part. You guys should all be engaging in recovery practices. Tim's over there holding on to his elbow because he knows it hurts, and we're going to discuss that a lot. Who here has ever had golfer's elbow? Anybody? I actually have, even though I don't golf, right? Knee pain, anyone have like patellar tendonitis or stuff like that, right? All kinds of fun stuff, right? Anything really actually specifically, anything with an itis, typically, it's actually a denotation for an overuse injury. Typically has to do with a ligament or a tendon. Those are basically, you're not doing the ample recovery, so your body's getting overworked, so it's not able to keep up with the load that you're putting on it, so your body's breaking down. And then Tim comes in here and I say, hey, how are those rows doing? He's like, awesome, they're super good. And he goes over across there and rubs his elbow. Because it never hurts. Right?
You are.
It's a good sport, so.
I think you're sitting in the wrong spot. He's looking right at you.
Yeah, so recovery is where the magic happens. Despite whatever the heck you do in these four walls or over a ballroom, whatever you're doing, it's good work. It's not actually producing the results. Those happen during the recovery process. When we're in here, we're actually just kicking your ass, right? We're just literally making micro tears in your muscle fibers and your ligaments, everything like that, so they grow back bigger, stronger, better in the after fact, okay? So basically, recovery is where the magic happens. Micro tears induce recovery. Your body treats it as an injury, and it starts the repair process. And then what that produces is what's called that muscle hypertrophy, which is the scientific term for growing your muscles, right? That's what we're looking for the most part, right? Obviously different goals, but for the most part, we'd all like to get bigger, stronger, better, for the most part. Let's see. In addition to like the physiological adaptations that are happening, there are also neurological adaptations that are helping. When you go into REM sleep, which we'll talk about, that's actually when you actually learn anything. If you were to read a book or any kind of topic, everything you're doing right now, actually, it's probably going to go in one ear, out the other. But if you go and take a nap, that's actually when your brain starts to fire those new synapses to create new modes of learning for your brain. It's actually when that happens. But it only happens when you're really sleeping, okay? In addition to that, there's hormonal processes. We'll talk a lot on that as well. Cortisol, the stress hormone, dopamine, serotonin, all those things, collagen, things like that, those get boosted and balanced when you're sleeping, okay? Or when you're recovering, for lack of a better term. Biggest thing as well is injury prevention. Of course, as I said, injury prevention as well as injury repair. Who here has ever been to a physical therapist for anything? Anybody guys? So, when they're doing that, was that were you sitting down and just waiting for recovery to happen when you were at PT? Probably not. You're probably doing stuff that really freaking hurt half the time, right? And you got knee pain, you're probably doing a lot of extensions and glute bridges, all these things. They're actually working the muscles and the tendons and the ligaments to again get you better. All those itises, those are overuse injuries, those are all always linked to lack of recovery. Even in professional athletes, college athletes, your fantasy football quarterback goes down, he wasn't recovered. That's just how that works, okay? Your body is overworked, your body's not able to accept the load that you're putting on it. And if you want to lift more and you want to feel better doing it, recovery is the name of the game. That's why this matters, okay? If you want to feel better doing it, if you want to bench press 3,000 pound AJ, you got to work hard, you got to recover even harder, okay? That's how that works. So, getting into the first topic, sleep. There's a reason it's the first one. It's because it's arguably the single most important facet of recovery, right? It's a passive one, which is great, so you don't actually work that hard because hopefully you're just sleeping. But it is objectively the most foundational form of recovery, right? When you rest, your body is going through vital physiological repairs. It's balancing hormones, as we kind of touched on. When you're in deep sleep, there are different forms of sleep, right? We have deep sleep, REM sleep. I can't remember. There's like 3 of them, but I should have looked into that before I hopped in here. But anyway, deep sleep specifically is involved in producing growth hormone. Now, that's super important for children and stuff like that because that's actually obviously how they physically grow. But growth hormone secretion is actually how those muscles repair themselves. It's mainly involved in tissue repair and muscle growth. Now, when I say deep sleep, that's actually when we bring into the fact of quality sleep. Who here gets 8 hours of sleep every night? Yeah, Tim, Karen, love it, awesome. Anyone here wear like an Aura ring or a Fitbit or an whatever, Apple Watch, any of that? Do you guys track your sleep at all? You track your sleep? What I'm just gonna pick on. What numbers are you getting? Are you getting like 100 every time, 99?
In the 70s and sometimes low 80s.
Sure, cool. But you're hitting relatively 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yep. Usually cool. My REM and my deep are the same.
Cool. Yeah. Then that's pretty accurate as far as that goes. Sleep quality matters. You go to bed and you get 8 hours of sleep. You can get 12 hours of sleep, but doesn't necessarily mean you get it right. Who here snores? Well, my wife sure knows I do. Sucks.
Raise your
So I will say there's lovely books about this, and I do a breathing workshop that talk about this as well. Sleep is not a cute little quirk. It's actually your body literally starving for air. You are literally like depriving your body of the most vital thing that it needs, especially when it comes to, again, repairing and recovering, right? It is a violent process that is snoring. Sleep apnea, anybody here? That's like a more advanced version, right? It's arguably worse and that kind of thing. So when it comes to quality sleep, if you're either waking up in the middle of the night or if you're snoring, stuff like that, your body isn't getting the quality sleep it needs, which again, it needs that deep sleep, it needs REM sleep. Speaking of REM sleep again, that is when you physically learn, that's when your brain actually makes those new connections in the brain. When you guys started that alloying or whatever you started at, you guys were probably using like pink kettlebells a lot of the time, right? We started very light, right? But honestly, probably in that first month or so, you probably bumped up to the blue kettlebell, maybe even the yellow kettlebell in a pretty short amount of time. Now, a lot of people attribute that to, I'm just getting bigger muscles, I'm just getting stronger, cool. Totally not what's happening. What's actually happening is your body, your brain actually more than anything, is actually making better connections on creating a more efficient movement. So if I told Karen day one, do a squat, and she's never done a squat before, and it's looking janky as hell, something like that, I don't know. If I tell her to do a squat, maybe the next day even, it's probably going to look a whole lot better because your body just got more efficient at recruiting the muscle fibers in order to do that specific movement. If we've never done bench press before, and Diane reps out the bar or something like that, but then 2 weeks later we do bench press, and she's repping out 2 10s on the side or something like that, and she didn't grow like her biceps or her chest like all that much in that time, but her body got way more efficient at doing that movement. So again, it comes back to, if you want to get better at movement, if you want to feel better on your deadlifts or whatever that looks like, you literally need that sleep in order to build those processes of learning. Another important portion of that. Collagen production. Collagen is involved with those ligaments and tendons. If you've got golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, patellar tendonitis, all these itises, those are just going to keep riding that wave. They're going to get worse until you start doing the work to get them better, I'll tell you that, which namely is involved in sleeping and recovery. We'll get into soft tissue mobilization as well. But anything involved in tendons and ligaments, you need sleep in order to repair those because they will literally just never... Ligaments and tendons are very annoyingly just stubborn. Funny, actually, that works pretty well. Stubborn too. So fits the people. But with that being said, they will not repair themselves objectively. That is when those PTs. Go ahead, Karen.
So if you have an injury like that, do you need more sleep than you've been getting? So if you average 7 hours a night and you get injured, you need to sleep more?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt. I'll say there's diminishing returns. Or if you're like hitting 10 hours a night, like you should probably check in on yourself and see what's up. Because maybe check on that. Therapy would be good too. But with that being said, yeah, if you're injured, like you just need more recovery, right? And sleep is one vital portion. But again, I've got 2 more to go through, so 20 more in addition.
So I need to hold my question.
Well,
repeat my question.
Yeah, exactly. We'll bring it up later again, right? So yeah, I mean, bottom line, yeah, it wouldn't hurt you to get a little bit more rest for sure. There's actually a good point. Who here has come into a workout where they've been on like 2 hours of sleep or something like that? And they toughed it out. They're like, yeah, I showed up and I'm real freaking tired. Yeah? What do you guess, right? Yeah. So I will say, commendable as that is, a little bravo and a round of applause. I'll say it's not helping him. It's definitely not helping him. I say it a lot of times. We come here to get better, right? Who here comes to Alloy to get worse, right? No? Didn't think so. Yeah, didn't think so. In order to get better, you need to show up, ready to work. And if you're on 2 hours of sleep or something like that, again, round of applause. But let's adjust the workout so that we're not just kicking your ass. Because your body just objectively will not make those adaptations after the fact. It's barely keeping up as it is. It's already stressed. Cortisol's high. We already didn't get all the processes for repairing from the last workout. What the hell are we doing here? We're just banging in the nail that's already in there, right? So whenever you guys come in here and you didn't get the amount of sleep you would have liked, or if you're just feeling tired, you're sick or something like that, your body's already working hard, let your trainers know. We'll happily accommodate. We've got a million other ways to make you better that day. We can go through movement patterns, mobility drills, stuff like that. But it's just, you're going to make yourself worse if you're just hitting your head all the time, just grinding through it. Again, commendable. I know it's difficult to take your foot off the gas sometimes. When I tell Tim to slow down once in a while, he's like, never heard that word in my life. So get over it. But sometimes you got to take 2 steps forward and then maybe 1 step back. You still made 1 step forward, that's fine, okay? And it's all relative. What's the cortisol? Cortisol, stress hormone. It's actually what wakes you up in the morning. So literally your cortisol starts to dip as you go throughout the day. Gradually you start to get to a point where you're tired, and then you sleep, and then it gradually peaks up, and that is literally what actually wakes you up in the morning unless your alarm is blaring at you at 4:35 a.m. So cortisol is, of course, the stress hormone. It is to be managed. It's not to be eliminated. I had a client today tell me that I have testosterone. I've never had cortisol. That's amazing. I have no idea how that works, but kudos to them. Probably checked out, but that's probably a problem. That to be said, if your cortisol stays high and is high, which it usually peaks in the morning, right? If you come in at 5:30 a.m., right? God willing, your cortisol's still probably pretty high. Recently, I've been telling a lot of women specifically, actually, because there's research that shows even more so for women, y'all should, this is my one nutrition point, y'all should be eating something in the morning. It can be as small as half a banana, half whatever protein shake you plan to be having, whatever that is, because that's going to stunt that cortisol, drop it down to a manageable level, so that when you get here and start working out, we're able to take on new stressors, right? Your body actually doesn't know the difference between an emotional or mental stressor and a physical one. You can be bench pressing 500 pounds and you could be going through depression or any kind of trauma and something like that. Your body's going to think it's the same damn thing. There's no idea what's going on outside your body. It purely understands stress. That's it. Injection of cortisol. So again, cortisol, that, and actually another good point when it comes to cortisol, if it does stay high, anyone here hopped on the InBody and it said, you lost muscle. And that's been pretty frustrating for Sydney, right? I'm sure everybody, I've hopped on and I've lost muscle. Cortisol also catabolizes your muscle. If you're already in a stressed out state, it thinks we're running from saber-toothed tigers still, okay? We've never really evolved. We've moved pretty fast in history, but to our brain, to our body, we're still waking up on the dirt floor in the middle of a savannah, getting chased by saber-toothed tigers. So your body would much rather you drop muscle to really actually care about your muscle. We all look like Arnold or whoever female counterpart that would be. But your body doesn't care. It doesn't care at all. It would rather tear apart your muscles as a form of energy to make up for your spiked cortisol than it would improve your muscle and gain muscle when you're already stressed. So again, when you come in here, when you're doing anything, if your cortisol stays high, it's tearing apart your muscles. Just plain and simple. That's one thing when we have an in-body that's showing the wrong direction in some ways. That's a tough conversation to have, right, for anyone. Like when I have to tell people that, it's like, well, what do I do, bro? Just stop stressing? I mean, arguably yes, but let's talk about that more in depth because it's obviously more nuanced than that.
So you eat something to lower cortisol.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, lower cortisol.
Yeah, that helps drop that cortisol from the
What is the
beginning.
food doing? It's using the energy that.
Yeah, so good point. If I'm being completely honest, and I'll always be the first to say I don't know how it actually, what physiological process is happening in order to drop that cortisol. From what I had read, everything that I had read, various research on PubMed, everything like that. All it says is, especially with menopause and stuff like that, cortisol does spike in the morning. Eating something, from my understanding, essentially starts, the anabolic window. Like have you guys heard that term, anabolic window? It's thrown around the gym quite often, right? What that does is send a hormonal, essentially signal to your body to start changing what needs to be happening internally from a hormonal standpoint. So I would assume it's actually that same process. It's saying it's rest and digest time, which is involved in your parasympathetic nervous system versus your sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is the cortisol high. That's when you're stressed, right? So it basically starts to begin that shift to down-regulate. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah,
Cool.
I didn't know that.
Yep, yeah. And that goes with anything. And again, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. Again, half a banana, half a protein shake. For women, it's arguably more important. Guys, we're going to pass sometimes, but that's how it goes. We'll make the rules.
So, should it be protein or carb or mixture of both?
Favorite question. I would say if you plan to get other proteins in the day, they can be carbs. When you come into a workout, you should roughly have 40 grams of carbs to make sure we're able to move and groove. Carbs are good for you. I'll go on record and say that. Your body needs carbs to literally go throughout its basic processes, and carbs help facilitate the transport of protein, so it also helps you building your muscle. But if you find yourself, I usually like to use the term opportunities of eating. Who here struggles getting all their protein in the day? I eat like 5,000 grams or whatever. I take every opportunity to eat protein. I have that protein right there. I'm going to chug that down as we go on. So if you find yourself, I don't know when else I'm going to get my protein in throughout the day, that's an opportunity to get some more protein. So, but if you got opportunities later, you're good. It doesn't matter when you get it in, as long as you get it in. So, personal preference, I'd say. But you need carbs, everyone knows. Strategies to improve sleep. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day for the rest of your life. Okay? That's it. Simple enough, right? Even on your weekends, I know it's tempting to sleep in. I wake up at 3:35 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Do I want to do that every day? Hell no. Am I going to do it most days? Yeah, because it helps me. It helps me sleep better. I get better quality sleep. I don't have to fight against starting a new bodily habit, because your body has no idea what the hell you're doing. When I try to go to bed at like 9 p.m., I'm in bed by 7:30. That's how it goes. That's just what you have to do in order to get those 8 hours, right? So go to bed, wake up at the same time just about every day if you can. As close to that as possible. You need a cold environment, no matter what your wife or husband says. You need 65 to 68 degrees. That's optimal temperature. Cozy up, get comfortable, but objectively that's where your body finds easiest to fall asleep to. Even better, bonus points if you take a shower before bed, a hot shower. The change in temperature actually facilitates your body's ability to get back to bed. So just good opportunity for that. Good hygiene too. Caffeine curfews. If all of y'all are from Claymont know Scott, he's cranking like 12 Celsiuses in like a 3-hour period, which is insane, which is nuts. I mean, he shouldn't do that. But he does have a caffeine curfew. He stops consuming it at noon, which is great. I don't know if that actually works for him, but theoretically it should. Who here drinks coffee? I know I do. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Who here drinks coffee at 3 p.m.? Good, don't do that, okay? Caffeine curfew, the way caffeine works, right, is it builds up in the system, then it gradually goes down throughout the system. Each time you add more onto that, it just increases the time it takes for that to get rid of your system, right? That's going to decrease your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. It also increases your stress, which again doesn't help your sleep. It's a whole cycle. So caffeine curfew, best thing you can do. Whatever that looks like for you. Noon, 11, 10, whatever. Wind down before you go to bed. If you guys go to bed, you're on your phone and social media is telling you, this guy's trying to kill you, or this is terrible, the world's ending. Definitely not the best thing you can be doing for yourself. You're just winding yourself up into that parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to take a whole lot of time to down-regulate. Your dreams are getting weird, it's really getting freaky, and you're all of a sudden having terrible sleep again, which again, name of the game. We want to sleep. So get the hell off your phone and stay away from that. Wind down, good opportunity to do some stretching, like foam rolling, whatever you want to do. Read a book, my God, breathe, do something. But don't get on your phone, don't watch TV. I will say, I'll go so far as you can watch TV, it can't be something that's really going to excite you. Right? It should probably end at least an hour before you go to bed. But some books will tell you can just never touch a screen in your life, which would probably be the best. But if you want to watch TV with your loved ones, whatever, go crazy. But try to turn it off as soon as you can before you go to bed. When you wake up, who here struggles like waking up in the middle of the night? Like 2 a.m. comes around, oh, it's time to wake up, I guess. Yeah, on occasion, whatever, you need to pee or something like that. You check your phone when you wake up, and you go, what time is it? Who's texting me? Can't wait to put my best thoughts to work, right? Don't do that. Take your phone, throw it through the window, feed it to the birds. You don't need it, okay? Your alarm clock, cover it up. You don't need it. It's going to tell you when you wake up anyway, okay? I don't care what time it is, and you shouldn't either. Because as soon as you look at that clock, you're starting to do the math. You're like, all right, if I went to bed an hour ago, I could have got 8 hours, but now it's 3 hours. Now I can't get 8 hours. Now I'm really stressed and I can't actually wake up. That's how it works, and you all know it because you've totally done it, including myself, okay? We've all done it, right? Do yourself a favor. Don't look at the damn clock. Who cares? It's going to be the time regardless. Can you change it? No. Duh. Throw it away. Don't look at your phone, okay? And when it comes to lights, you should have a completely as dark an environment as possible. Even LED lights on your alarm clock, turn it the other way. And literally that actually hits your eyeballs, your eyelids, and tells you it's time to wake up as well. It spikes the cortisol. So don't do that, okay? Save it for later. Who here struggles falling asleep on occasion? No? Yeah. A good thing that I've had a lot of clients find success with is a journal, piece of paper, whatever. Write down whatever's on your mind, and there can be no rhyme or reason about it. You can just say the same damn thing. Brogan really kicked my ass 7 times today. Whatever you want to do. Get it out of your brain, dump it on the page, burn it, throw it away, I don't care, but just dump it out of your head so your brain can just regulate it and sleep, okay? Even if you're just sitting there with your eyes closed and you still just can't get back to sleep, just think about letting my body rest. Like physically, my head might be still going right now, but I'm just letting my body rest. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to fall asleep having done that. If you just think about, I'm actually relaxing, my body has that tension releasing, all of a sudden you're asleep. It helps a lot, okay? Simple little tricks like that. That's about it for strategies as far as improving sleep. Now, as much as I'm talking about sleep. Questions on sleep?
What about napping?
Napping, napping's okay. It's kind of in the same format as caffeine insofar as like, if I take a 15-minute nap, I might be decreasing the likelihood that I'll get good quality sleep, maybe 15 minutes of that good quality sleep later on. If you find yourself tired, naps are A-okay. Now there is a trick. Every book I've read on sleep always talks about 15-minute naps, good. 25-minute naps, bad. 2-hour naps, good. 1-hour nap, bad. 15-minute is basically that time where it takes where you kind of can get into REM, come back down, wake up. And you're not feeling groggy, not waking up in a different universe, you're feeling good. 1-hour nap, you're just waking up in a cold sweat and you don't know what the hell day it is, okay? 2-hour naps, again, similar process. You're going up and down and getting through those natural processes, and then you're back after about 2 hours. Now those are, of course, when you fall asleep, when you actually wake up, there are differences there. But generally, if you can, set an alarm for 15, or if you're really diving in, go for the 2 hours. And that's not wrong. Naps are okay. All right. Anything else on sleep while I'm there? And at the end, feel free to just barrage me with questions. Active recovery, okay? We talked about that this is an active process for the most part beyond sleep, so let's get into it. Motion is lotion, movement is medicine, okay? Light movement, like walking, yoga, cycling, all those different kinds of things, rowing, those kind of rhythmic exercises, all increase fluid exchange and decrease soreness, okay? When y'all finish a heavy workout, you go get sore. You might even be sore that same day, the day after that, the day after that. What's actually happening is your lymph fluid, your lymphatic system, which is a different system around your body, it basically helps shovel away cellular debris. We're making those micro tears in your muscle fibers so it can grow back bigger, stronger, better. But in order to do that, we're ripping it away, and then essentially your cells are washing that away. Now your lymph system does not work the same way that your circulatory system works. Your circulatory system has a nice little engine called your heart that pumps around all this fluid. You're doing it right now. Your lymph system just freaking sits there, okay? You literally have to move your body in order to move the lymphatic system around, okay? That's why we say, you guys finish a heavy workout and go for a walk the next day. You'll feel far less sore. That is why I love foam rolling, and you all should too. Get over it. I know it hurts. Get over it, man. It's good for you, okay? What it literally does is break up that lactic acid, increase the lymph flow, and move all that stuff around so you don't feel sore, okay? Get over it, okay? It's good for you. About all that. Anyone ever hear the term like RICE when it comes to injuries? Like, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Anyone ever hear that, right? Sure. That term was coined by Dr. Gabe Markin, who literally like a year later just nixed the ice portion of that. Who here ices injuries? Anybody? Like sore knee or something like that, throw an ice pack on. Don't do that. Never do that. I only say that because what they did, he did like a year's worth of research after that and was like, this isn't helping anybody. It was actually, all it does is prolong the injury recovery process. We view it as like, oh, it's going to decrease inflammation because inflammation is bad, right? Inflammation, to a degree, like chronic inflammation, could definitely be bad in different circumstances. Inflammation in and of itself is a natural occurring process. That is actually the start of that fluid exchange in the cells. It's larger now because blood flow is increasing to that area. It's a very natural process. It's a necessary process. When you put ice on that, you are cryogenically freezing the tissue to make it stop that process. And then all of a sudden, and it feels good because it's what's called a natural analgesic, which is a painkiller. It stops the ability to feel pain. So you're like, oh, that really helps. And then the next day, oh, it came back. Yeah, no shit, because you didn't help yourself, okay? So don't ice. It doesn't really do anything for you. Compression is cool. Elevation, yep, again, blood flow. Rest, duh. But yeah, ice it's just not going to do anything for you. You fall down, hit your knee, and you want to throw an ice pack on there for 10 minutes, I'm not going to sue you, but again, you're just prolonging the healing process. So yeah, again, truly that doctor literally recanted that, wrote about it extensively, and said this is a terrible idea. Mobility work and soft tissue mobilizations. So who here has been given a lacrosse ball from their trainer to go rub their freaking shoulder blades or anything else, right? Raise your hand. I know literally all of you have, because I've probably given it to you. If they haven't given you one, tell them, give me a freaking lacrosse ball, okay? It comes out of Aaron's paycheck, so it's all good. So why do we do that? Why do we tell you to go rub that up against the wall and feels really annoying? Because muscle knots, big glob up there where you're feeling something moving around. When you have a muscle knot, it's basically a big object in the road is the analogy I like to use. Your body's gonna do whatever it needs to do. I'm gonna put my hand up, it might hurt when I get here, I hope. But as soon as if I give it some love back there and start rubbing out that muscle knot, it's going to loosen that up, allow all the muscles to do what it naturally wants to do without that object in the road where it's like bugging up against it, causing that nerve pain, all that kind of stuff. If you got shoulder pain, usually what you want to do is work on the shoulder blades and the upper back. If you have neck pain, similar story, shoulder blades. You usually want to think above and below that joint. If you have low back pain, I know a lot of you have done that. You want to work on the hips and the glutes. You'll hop on the foam roller, give one of those. 9 times out of 10, it's going to make sure that that tension is pulled off of that nerve and decrease that sensation there. I like to think of mobility work and soft tissue mobilizations as routine maintenance, the same way you would like a car. That's just an oil change, right? And like, you only get that every once in a while. You should be doing that just about every single day. If I've ever given any of you guys like homework to be doing at home, I know I've given Jay stuff to do, Tim have given me stuff to do. Anyone here been to PT, right? Remind me one more time for anything, right? They gave you homework, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing that homework right now?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody doing that homework still every single day, right? You should. I mean, every day. That's exactly, Jay. Yeah, myself included. PT exercises are exercises, right? And you should do those for the rest of your life. When you die, you can do it in the next life, and you're just going to keep doing that forever. That's just how it works. There's no off-ramp. You didn't like win health, like you're not done. When you hit 200 workouts, you didn't just like sign off and say mission accomplished. You just keep doing it. That is that maintenance repair, right? We need bird dogs for low back pain, glute bridges, all that kind of stuff. It's routine maintenance, okay? Know your problem areas. You got back pain, hit the hips, hit the shoulders. You got knee pain, hit the hips, hit the calves, stuff like that. And with that, I'll kind of just show you a couple of practical examples. Obviously, all of you are, again, all vetted into alloy. You've done all these warm-ups a million times. But I suppose I'll just show you really quick things that you could just do all of these in like 10 minutes. It's basically the warm-up that we do for alloy. You don't have to do this with me, but things I would start with, you can do 10 reps of all these glute bridges, just making sure they're all moving and grooving. Your hips are coming off the ground, working on hip stability. It's going to decrease low back pain, decrease knee pain, help move and groove in that direction. Bird dogs. We're in this position, opposite arm, opposite leg extending out. This is like the optimal core exercise. If anyone's ever gone to a PT or a chiro for low back pain, honestly, I bet they prescribed some form of bird dogs. There's a reason for that. Wall slides or supine slides. Anyone with shoulder issues or neck stuff, we're here pulling our hands back as far as you can. You might not look like this, you might look like this, and that's okay, it's all relative. But just sliding up and down, nice and slow. Again, we're just going through a very light movement, but we're still moving and grooving, right? Breaking up the lymph, the lactic acid, moving the body so that it's more efficient at doing that when we go and load it up with some overhead presses, right? World's greatest stretch, which is literally what this is called. We're here, we're just like so, and then you rotate over top of that bent leg. There's a reason it's called this. It's because you are literally hitting like everything in your body. Honestly, if you were to just do that 10 times on each side every day for the rest of your life, I bet you probably have like less aches and pains, like just about every day. There's nothing like that doesn't hit. Helps with thoracic mobility in the chest and the back. Helps with hip mobility, calf stability, mobility, everything across from the upper back all the way down to the toes. So super good exercise. You do that a million times. Windshield wipers, a little bit more advanced. You'd be here in roughly that 90-90 position. And we're working on guiding the hips through a range of motion. This is harder than it looks. You can change it to make it a little easier this way. But again, we're just building up our hip stability, which is going to decrease that low back pain, decrease that knee pain. Just routine maintenance, going through the motions, right? Wall sits, I want to show you. You go up against the wall. We did it earlier, help go up against the wall, build up knee stability. If you ever go to a PT for patellar tendonitis, like myself, or anything for your knees, the reason you do those exercises when it comes to ligaments and tendons is in order to repair ligaments and tendons, you actually need to load them. You need to exercise them and work them pretty hard, actually, because that's actually what sparks new tendon and ligament growth. So knee repair, anything with knees, wall sits are your best friend. You don't have to actually go through a range of motion, so it's not grinding through that joint. Good for that. Anything with bands, I had Diane and Tim do one of my new favorites. They're going to curse my name tomorrow. Really good exercise. Hope knows what I'm talking about too. Anything with those like little mini bands that the trainers should be giving you to do stuff with. They're obviously the elastic ones, but yeah, throw them out if you got it. Oh yes.
Sorry, that's because I did those.
Close.
That's right. As far as I
No,
can throw.
Little things at home, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, things that you can be doing. Shoulders up, back, and down. I say that 1,000,000 times a day. Things like this, helping build up your upper back, which takes a load off of that tendon. The disgusting thing I had Diane and Tim and Hope do, we're here, hold for 3 seconds, and then up here for 3 seconds. Similar process, building up that upper back, and again, decreasing tension up here, building up our stability in our shoulders. So, things like that. Once you get into PT, anyone that you talk to is going to give you those things to do. Those are like the practical exercises I would recommend just about everyone do every single day. You can't overdo those. Those are all manageable, I'm sure, for anybody and everybody. So if you're doing that every day, you'd be in a good spot. That would take you 5-10 minutes. And it would also help you wind down for the day. It's not going to increase your stress or anything like that. So my 2 cents on that. Stress. Now, this one's kind of an ambiguous topic, and obviously I'm not going to cover everything because you can't solve stress. You can just manage it. That's it. So, stress is the real killer, okay? There was the longest happiness study in history. It's over 80 years old now at this point, from Harvard. Biggest takeaways they had from that, insofar as decreasing stress, increasing happiness, is community is the name of the game, okay? I mean, when it comes down to it, your people that you have, which is good because y'all got an ally, right? You got your friends here, right? It tends to help. Community is so important, whatever that looks like to you. I'll just kind of put a pin in that. Community was literally linked to every single positive health outcome across thousands of people that they've literally studied for 80 plus years. Intergenerational, those who had friends, those who had meaningful relationships, not just someone you pass on, or your barista that gets you your favorite coffee every day, which help. And I'm talking deep, meaningful relationships. Men, honestly, we struggle with it more than women. That's just a statistical fact. But making sure you take time to find and foster those relationships, it couldn't be more pertinent to your health. Who here sees a chiro? Who here sees a PT, a doctor, anybody? The one thing, and I'm a humble personal trainer, the one thing I bet we can all get on board about is you should just have more friends and you should spend more time with them. They'll never tell you that's a wrong thing. That's your medicine right there, okay? When was the last time any of you actually tasted your coffee in the morning? I know I just chuck that shit down in my goat, and that's it. It's fuel. That's all it is, right?
The second cup I take.
Exactly. That's exactly it, right? That's the point, right? So, when it comes down to it, again, I host a different workshop all about mindfulness and meditation. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to realize, I didn't even really live. The world passed me by. When was the last time you actually listened to the birds, smelled a flower, took a walk and didn't have your AirPods in, trying to cram as much information or take a business call or whatever that is? We need to slow down. We need to slow down way more. We need to get off our phones way more. Again, I can't harp on that enough. But slowing down, mindfulness is technically the term for that, being actually appreciative of the present moment. That is, there couldn't be a single better thing for mental health, which of course correlates to holistic health as a human, okay? It's going to decrease your stress, going to increase your ability to sleep better, going to make you more focused on your workouts. What I like actually most about strength training specifically is I like being able to lift, bringing 250 pounds off the deck, and then feel what that feel like, right? Like checking in on myself. Wow, did I feel like I was going a little bit to my left? Did I feel that in my glutes? Did I feel in my low back? What can I adjust and think about? What can I do better on that next rep? We're lifting heavy here, right? Jay benches 3,000 pounds. It's crazy. When he does that, it's an opportunity, quite literally, to get in touch with your body. What's actually moving? Obviously you're thinking, holy shit, I hope this doesn't crush me. But in addition to that, I hope you're thinking about, how does this feel? Am I checking in with myself? Is this worth it? You guys are paying a lot of good money to be here, if I'm being honest, right? Is this worth what I'm doing? Am I doing this with intention, or am I just going through emotions? Similar, am I just going through emotion on a workout? If I tell someone, we're doing an anti-rotation, and we'll hold this for 5 seconds, and we bring it back, and I look over, and they're like, all right, I'm like, where's the 5 seconds? Can we slow down? That's where the magic is actually happening. What are we doing, right? Like, let's be intentional about whatever you're doing. If you're spending time with your loved ones, if you're on your phone or you're out to dinner and you're just not listening to anybody, one, you're obviously just not respecting them, and two, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're just not even taking anything in. You're just walking through life. Nobody wants that. Breathing, I can tell, I've already hosted workshops on that. Your diaphragm, everyone knows what your diaphragm is. Anybody, big old fan, kind of umbrella-shaped muscle just below your lungs, shoves all your guts down so your lungs can fully expand down there. When you take big belly breaths in and really expand out that stomach, it literally fires up your hormones to start that parasympathetic nervous system where you're gonna relax. And it physically makes you relax, which is such a nice tool. Okay, so whenever you're stressed, I go to the bathroom at the end of every single session. Sometimes I'm not even using the bathroom. I'm just stepping there to breathe. I am literally just going in there and taking 5 big deep breaths so I can come out and do it all again, okay? That's not like aggrandizing anything, but I'm just saying, it takes 30 seconds. It takes 30 seconds. You're in your car before a meeting that you're really stressed about. You just had a fight with your loved one and you're trying to calm down and check your reason. 30 seconds. Big deep breaths, long exhales. Who's heard me say that one? Long exhales, right, Jay? Every day on friggin' Monday and Wednesday, huh?
That's about 3,000 cuts.
Exactly, yeah. Buddy, exactly. Yeah, long exhales helps activate that parasympathetic nervous system. Big belly breaths does the same exact thing. 30 seconds all it takes. 10 seconds is all it takes. The actual example that I just tell people to do, it's called box breathing. You would do a 4-second inhale through the nose. Also, every time you should be breathing in through your nose. That's what it's for. In through the nose, hold for 4 seconds. Release for 4 seconds, and then hold for another 4 seconds. Do it a million times until you've reached transcendence. Okay? Simple enough. That's why it works for the SEAL Team 6. It should work for you guys too. Setting boundaries, again, this is a more esoteric and a little more fluid thing. Setting boundaries is important. I've had to deal with this. Telling people no is hard. It's objectively hard, right? Now you want to do everything for everybody all the time. Can you do that? No. Should you do that? Of course not. It's only going to hurt yourself. It's obviously honestly going to help those, or going to hurt those that you're trying to help, because you're not able to show up for them. Why would you? You're stressed out of your mind. You're taking on more than you can actually do, and that's a detriment to yourself as well as the others. So setting boundaries, knowing yourself. I use this analogy. We train 6-7 sessions in a row. That's a lot, right? Like, we're physically going through it. It's a lot of mental capacity. I know after I'm done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for my long days, there ain't a damn thing up here that's going to be doing any kind of cognition, any kind of good, solid thinking. I save those tasks for Thursdays when I have a lot more time and I'm doing far less training. Knowing yourself that I know I've got a meeting that's just going to kick my ass. Knowing that maybe I shouldn't go then do some real deep accounting or something like that. Help yourself, right? It's okay to take that step back and reformat your schedule, your life, so you're actually executing the things you got. You get no reward. There's no reward at the end of the day when you look to the big light in the sky. You're not going to get any kind of round of applause for just continuously bashing your head into the wall trying to do everything, okay? Do yourself a favor. We're all going to get there someday, no matter what you do. I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to carry those accolades with you. You're not going to carry anything with you. That's it. So, might as well make peace with that. Make peace with your day and actually set yourself up for success. I tell clients all the time, not every day is game day. You come in here and you're not feeling up to snuff. We're not doing, we didn't get that sleep. Let's work on something that's actually going to make ourselves better. Let's lighten the load, still move and groove, but not, kick your butt for the sake of kicking your butt because you're a masochist. Whatever. Do that somewhere else, not here. And then again, I'll just say it one more time. Disengage from social media. It is there quite literally to capture your attention, sell you ads, and piss you off. And it does a good job of that, okay? Everyone can attest to that, right? Whatever way you want to lean. But there's nothing to be gained there unless you're really focused on your individual friends and you're checking in and liking their little statuses and stuff like that. You're just in for just heightened emotion. with nowhere to get it to, just screaming into the void. So save yourself the trouble, get your phone, never touch it again, and you'd probably be better off. Okay? Putting this all together, that's kind of what I'm talking about as far as stress. Recovery is quite literally where the progress actually happens. That's when all those gains are actually being made. You're doing the work here, you're literally tearing yourself down so that you build yourself back up. But if you're not building yourself back up, you're not getting the reward for your hard work. So, duh. If you're sleep deprived, tell your trainer, we will adjust. That's what we're trained to do. So let us know when we give you mobility work, when we honestly tell you, honestly, we're just going to drop the weight a little bit. And you take that as like a gut punch to the ego. No, Brogan, I always do 25 on bench press. And I'll be damned if you tell me otherwise. I think you know. I don't care. I'm going to be the adult in the room and I'm just saying, that's fine. I don't really care. You're going to do 20 right now because it looks like you just need a 20-pound weight versus that 25. Let's get you better, not worse. Sound like a plan? Cool. Get over it. Sign the waiver. Sleep is foundational. It is paramount. It is the single best thing you can do for your recovery. Active recovery is routine maintenance. It's the oil change. 10-man over there, just greasing the oil, the joints, stuff like that. It enhances what you already have. If you've made gains, you're able to squat 300 pounds now. If you want to keep squatting that, we got to keep working on mobility. I've got a guy, Chris Bauer, I'll even shout him out because he's strong as everybody in here combined. We put every single plate on the bar and he just squats it like it's nothing, right? Now I'll say, he does that because we make sure that obviously he's doing his own stuff at home, but I'll take him over there and be like, listen, man, we're gonna do a squat mobility drill. We're just gonna hang out down here 5 minutes, and guess what? It probably won't feel easy, even though you squat 1,000,000 pounds. But we do that. We take our foot off the gas in order to make sure that we can keep doing that, so that we can do that and do it better the next time. So routine maintenance, mobility. That greatest stretch, all those tissue mobilizations, foam rolling, those are so that you can keep doing what you're doing and stop getting aches and pains. That's what decreases those tinnitus and such. Stress is the real killer. You can manage it. You can't eliminate it, so make peace with that. But set yourself up for success, right? Someone's going to heighten your emotions. You can fire somebody. Yeah, you're getting fired. Make sure that you set yourself up that you're not, just going and running with that and making it worse for yourself. And at the end of the day, listen to your body. I always tell people, if something hurts, tell me. I could literally never tell what you guys are telling me. Diane could be smiling and just having searing pain, and I would have no idea until she tells me. So tell your trainer, listen to your body, make sure you're making smart decisions, stay off your phone. That's about it. I'll stop the recording there.